welcome back down to the Chiefs Pit. You got Timmy Petty, Mark Petty, and Richie Petty. This is probably coming to you on Christmas night, so we want to wish you a Merry Christmas. And it got us to thinking about some Christmas memories that we had as a Petty family. In the last couple of weeks, we've been coming together with the whole family, and you might have seen it of a video and a picture of the whole family up here on the porch, and that was a good time for us because it was like a Petty family reunion. And we got to see some cousins and people I hadn't ever met, so we had a good time. So, you know, as at grandmother's house, and it's got us thinking about some Christmas memories. But what'd you think about
because it was very reminiscent of
right
Christmas past over at her house, at Grandmother Petty's house.
But before we get into the Christmas memories, all this was put together because we've been collaborating with Kyle and the whole Petty family. We're starting another YouTube channel, the Petty Family, and it's going to incorporate everybody in the family stories and stuff. And Kyle's doing a real good job getting everybody together. So, you know, we're looking forward to the next year. I know we've teased this, that we're going to have some big things coming. Well, this is coming, ain't it?
Yeah, what I enjoyed about the beginning of it, which was us all getting together up at the house here a couple weeks ago, was how proud grandmother and grandfather would have been that everybody that came from their two sons, and what was there, 70, 80 people out there?
Oh, it was a lot.
And it was just a good feel moment. It really
It was. I mean, I had no idea we had that many people in the crowd.
I got to tell you, I had a lump in my throat more than once.
Yeah,
just because of mentioning the fact that they would be proud, and mom and dad as well. So.
And really excited about everybody getting together and working on this Petty 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
And man, we got big things to come for the whole deal.
Well, it's just dropped, and so go over to their site, the Petty Family Racing, right?
Yep.
Like and subscribe, and like and subscribe on the Petty Brothers too. We appreciate everybody on our deal, but there's going to be a different videos coming. It's just getting going. It's going to be really a good deal, ain't it?
Yep, we're all excited.
Well, it definitely touches bases, and we are big history buffs anyway, and looking back at our history and, you know, racing history and just history in general.
Well, you got people out here.
Wait a minute, we got the Petty historian.
No, I was going to
right
say you got people out here. You got people out here. They want to be called historians and stuff like that. We lived it, as you said.
Right.
Mark said that the other day. He said we lived it. We're not historians, but we like to give you a perspective of the history from back with our grandfather, even before them, if we can, because we got stuff that dates back into 1870s. So, you know, I don't know where they're wanting to go with some of this stuff. I know it's a race in 75, but we go back a little further than that.
Yeah, but back to the Christmas memories, all of us being up there on the house.
Yes.
At the house.
Yeah.
It brought back a lot of good memories because
yeah.
The Petty family, we spent our Christmases in that house.
That's right. On Christmas Day, we'd go visit Grandma.
Grandmother and grandfather.
Well, on the set, we'll start here. This train goes back to 1950. This was Richard and Maurice's Christmas morning present from Santa Claus. And it ended up in our collection. We're proud to have it and proud to show it to you. But I remember Dad telling about this. This was a big present for them when they were growing up, and they were really excited to get it, wasn't they?
1950, I'd say they were, because I mean they were struggling.
We got the whole set, but this is just some pieces of it.
Well, I think they had them Christmases where they got orange too.
Yeah, they were.
You know what I mean?
And the red bird candy.
Yeah, but I mean, but like you said, this 1950 things was starting to get going.
Lee's racing was started.
Yeah,
he was starting to make a go of it.
Must have had a little something extra laid around to be
in the coffee can.
Yep.
Now, my memories of Grandmother Petty's house, and it's just the crowd getting together. There wasn't a lot of us like this picture, but there was a group of us. But I can remember going over there, and Grandmother always had these little pony-sized Coca-Colas on the porch, and it was always cold. And the kids would go out there, and you could get a bottle of Coca-Cola, and it had ice in it because it was always a little bit cooler.
That was one of her favorites.
The little 6-ounce bottles?
Yeah, it was a little pony size.
Yeah.
But Billy West would always bring Daddy and Lee Boy some muscadine wine. And so some of the older fellas would get out there and drink some muscadine wine, and us little fellas
a long time
would drink the
realize
Coca-Cola.
what they were doing out there on the porch. Yeah.
But anyway, you got anything?
Well, I know the Coca-Cola deal is definitely not advertised for Coca-Cola, but yeah,
why not?
We loved them. I mean, and Grandmother Petty was big on it, and having a case of Coca-Colas was a big deal. at your house.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because remember that the big, back when they were bottles, not plastic, but
Yep.
I mean,
All those
but to
are
have the whole case in a wooden crate,
Oh yeah.
and then everybody, like you said, that was something to share. And well, and you walked in there, and she had obviously been cooking all morning, and Mama had been cooking, for both days, and it was just coming together, and it seemed like looking at remembering when was the adults relaxing.
Yeah.
And like you said, surveying and obviously, reaping the benefits of a good year. And I remember getting a blanket when you're at work, and that was your
And a bag of oranges.
Yeah.
that was your bonus.
Right.
And I remember having to go get them oranges.
Amen.
Yeah.
So
What a great memory.
Well, there's a
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That's a good memory for Christmas. Was they'd go test in December, and so they'd send a truck down there to the test and coming back. What would they do?
I'll bet past.
Indian River fruit.
I bet past petty employees watching this will say, "Hey, I remember getting a bag of oranges."
But they would
'cause that was
stop
a big
off.
deal.
The
Oh,
truck
certainly.
driver would leave the racetrack, heading north, and they'd stop off right there at the fruit
We
stand
actually drove down there just to get them when we
Yeah.
missed the opportunity to
and,
get
fi-
them.
and fill up the truck with oranges and stuff. And so we'd come back, and that would be part of the Christmas bonuses.
Do you remember them little things you stick down in there and you drink the juice out of them in the oranges? And
Yeah.
I always thought that
Oh,
was a
they
big
had,
deal.
they had, yeah.
Oh, yep, oh, yeah.
In the
Had 'em
little
at the fruit
plastic
stand.
ones.
Now, do you got any memories
Well,
about
just
Christmas?
you go back to, man, from being little to growing up, and the Christmases we had at grandmother's house. We're like any other family. I mean, it's not a perfect world, but no matter what was going on, whether everybody was getting along and winning races, or if it was during some of the lean times, for 2 or 3 hours, all that was gone, and you were a family.
Yep.
And that to me is what was special about it, because for 2 or 3 hours you was a family. You wasn't working, you wasn't business. It was
Right.
it was
Right.
it was
Now you
pleasure.
Now, but
Celebration.
racing was always brought up. They
Oh,
was
no, they
always
talked
talking
about it. Yeah,
but it
good
was.
Lord.
Oh yeah,
But it seemed like we was talking about everybody else instead of
oh
ourselves
yeah,
at that time.
Especially because back then the testing was in December, so they were getting ready
Oh,
for
yeah.
the January test. So they were always excited about that. But yeah, there was times there that racing would get pushed to the side, but it always seemed to come right back into the conversation.
It sure did, but everybody got along,
Oh,
was
yeah.
on the same
Oh, yeah.
page. It was just for 2 or 3 hours we was tight.
What would be playing on the TV set?
That
The
football
the
game,
football game, the
the
East-West
blue
game.
gray, the blue gray.
Because that was
Blue-gray,
something
yeah.
Yeah.
when you were a little kid, you didn't go in there while they were. Grandfather would be sitting there smoking his pipe
yeah.
like this, and
Now let's go to Mama's
Yeah.
house on Christmas Eve, because that's where our Christmas would start. But it always started after lunch, because Daddy always worked half a day,
Yep.
no matter what, on Christmas Eve. And when he would come in at 4 o'clock or whatever, that's when Christmas started, wasn't it? But,
Well, yeah, in a way, but
you didn't want her to call him early.
but it also started a day or two before. Roger Watson was on one of our shows talking about the candies.
oh yeah,
Mother would be cooking, but yeah, you're right. Once Dad got home from work, it was on.
Oh, yeah.
It was like
Well,
let's get this party started.
And Martha Jane's parents, Helen and Claude Van,
Granny and Claude.
they would come and partake in the candies and the spirits. And
well, it's like I always said. Back in the day, Daddy had a little bit of power because he was a big name. And as soon as he'd come in, he was like the Godfather. There'd be different groups coming in and bringing the presents.
Yeah,
that's
You
a
know,
good way of
it's
looking
kinda
at it.
cool.
I never thought about that. Yeah, and just like the persimmon pudding and the stuff that
Oh,
people
yeah.
would put away, and the little pinwheels with the peanut butter. Like you said, that
Yeah,
I guess Roger said divinity candy, and
Yes.
I hadn't heard it said that way,
the
but
date
that's what it
balls,
was.
The date balls with the
It-
powdered sugar.
Oh yeah, or
Richie
the
still makes
Buckeyes,
them.
the peanut butter balls. Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
great
that's-
memories.
we got so many memories, and we can only share
And
a few
Mama's
with you.
dressing her for the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would be working on that for days.
Yep.
You know, the bread.
Well, I'm sure everybody can relate.
I
Everybody's
know,
got
but
the-
you're asking me about my memories,
No,
and
I
I
know,
can
it's
remember
great.
the smells and the coconut cake that Daddy and Mom would make.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We was
Oh,
talking about that earlier today.
Well, that goes back to grandmother's people. They always made the coconut cakes, and then they also had the Japanese fruit cake they would make.
Yeah, and it had coconuts in
Yeah,
it, right?
So that was a
I guess
tradition on the
coconuts were hard to
tombside.
get back in the day. You know, speaking of the 50s and late 40s or whatever.
I think it was just making cakes and
I
having
think
sugar.
was hard to come by. Yeah,
Well, sugar was another. Yeah,
They used the sugar for something else.
yeah.
yeah. You couldn't just use it for cakes, you know.
Well, we just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and share you a few of our memories. And like I said, we got some big things coming for the year. So like and subscribe to the Petty Brothers. Shoot on over to the Petty Family page and like and subscribe. And hey,
Stay
Merry
with
Christmas.
us.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.